Your diet and your nutrition, you talked briefly before about that. I've got a few questions to ask you. What does it look like? What do you eat? What sort of nutrition do you have to such a level of high intensity? How do you push through with all your nutrition?
Lots of carbs. I mean, I'm not a dietitian, no, but my goal is to eat more carbs during the day to fuel my training, and then more protein at night to assist with recovery. And I don't do anything outrageous. I just try and eat enough to sustain my energy needs. And I'm a vegetarian. Not that makes me any better than anyone else, but I often think it would be funny if I decide to start eating meat again, and then I can say, oh, well, I ran pretty good when I was a veggie.
Yeah.
But then if I did improve, then, we could say, oh, it's because I'm eating meat now.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, I'll never know.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think you can be a great athlete on any diet, as long as it's sensible. You know what I mean? So,
well, Shane Warne, he was a brilliant cricketer, but I thought his diet certainly was quite questionable. He said he had about 50, I don't know what he had, but it wasn't great. But obviously a cricketer compared to an intense runner are different things. So you talked about your carbs is that the main source of energy you get, and for recovery too? Do you use gels for recovery, and what other foods do you use to accommodate your struggling body through such tough marathons?
Yeah, I think a turning point in my training has been fueling more during runs, so taking on more carbs, and just the difference between the next run has been enormous. Just not pulling up a sore because you're not dipping into the reserves as much as you otherwise would. And then I think eating more protein than I ever have, because it's my understanding that endurance athletes need more protein than regular people anyway. So that's been a focus for me, as well as just eating more, because there's really no negative of eating too much protein. Obviously you can't absorb it all at one time. If you might top out at 40 grams in one sitting, but just trying to increase the amount that I eat throughout the day.
And are you making these diets up yourself, or do you have a dietitian to help you, or is it just you sort of saying, oh, I know what this is good for, I'll have that? Or
yeah, I mean it's just me.
Yeah,
I have a really influential book was Racing Weight, and that sort of speaks about fueling for training.
You've got a book?
No, sorry.
Oh.
A book that I read.
Oh, okay.
Called Racing Weight, and that sort of talks about a sensitive issue in endurance sport, which is being lean and being light, and to be honest, I mean it's just so crucial to be that skinny athlete, but to get to that point, you need to do it in a healthy way, and then once you're there, you need to make sure that you're still fueling adequately. Otherwise, you can very quickly get injured, and it can all start going downhill.
Yep. So, Richie, with your diet as well, hydration and electrolytes, they are so important to so many runners. How do you manage those with water and electrolytes too during and before and after your marathons?
Well, it depends on how hot it is. So in Osaka, when I ran my second fastest time, I didn't really... So that was 2:33.
Okay, yeah. What temperature was that? Was it
cold?
Cold.
It was only...
Was it over there winter?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm honestly not too sure about Japan's seasons, but yeah, it was cold. It was like, maybe 7 or 8 degrees.
So you have to accommodate for that, or...
Definitely, yeah. Your hydration and fueling requirements change a lot on a hot or a cold day, and I found that my nutrition sat really well in my stomach in terms of taking on carbs because it was colder, but then you don't have that same need for water and electrolytes because you're not sweating as much. And I think also my recovery might have been better because on a hot day, it just takes it out of you more.